Certain NBA players peak much later than others, especially if their skills rely less on athleticism, more on fundamentals. Given the years of experience, some players might literally not reach their full potential till after the age of 30. The perfect example of a recent future Hall of Famer still performing at a high level, the soon-to-be 35-year-old Jimmy Butler, on the fence of being a Hall of Famer 5 years ago, didn't fully reach his apex until the two Cinderella Finals runs after signing with Miami. His leadership and legendary playoff performances proved he can carry an inferior team all the way to the championship series. Now it's not even a question, Jimmy Bucket's a guaranteed Hall of Fame lock. Here are 10 NBA greats who weren't super elite in their 20s, still very good players, but nobody could have predicted they had any chance at being Hall of Famers until they balled out even more in their 30s, while many high flyers and super athletic players heavily regress by their late 20s and flame out the league once they hit 3-0. Starting with Lenny Wilkens, remembered for being one of the greatest head coaches in league history, the now 86-year-old made 4 All-Star teams in 7 seasons during his 20s, but didn't average 20 points per game until age 30, made 5 All-Star teams between 30 to 35, even led the league in assists for the first time at 32. After never putting up above 6.2 dimes, Wilkens went on to average between 8.2 to 9.6 assists between 30 to 35, highly skilled in dictating tempo, later became player coach for 3 seasons in Seattle, from nowhere viewed as an MVP contender, finished second place the 1968 season as a 30-year-old, remembered for his long coaching tenure. Wilkens also made NBA's top 75, given his overall impact to the game, being an important part of league history despite never making an All-NBA team. Alex English, the former 23rd pick, didn't look like he was going to be anything impactful. Came into the league at age 23, averaged just 5.2 points his rookie season and under 10 a game year 2, then all of a sudden became the 1980s most prolific scorer. English didn't make his first All-Star team till 28 with the Nuggets, reached his prime in his 30s, his numbers skyrocketed. From looking like he'd just be a good player on forgotten teams, English made 6 of his 8 All-Star teams in his 30s, solidifying himself as a Hall of Famer. Between the age of 30 to 35, averaged over 27 a game, all those years better than each of his first 5 seasons, had his best playoff run at age 31, overshadowed in his era by the likes of Magic, Bird, and Dominique. English style of play, not flashy, a very similar game to Carmelo Anthony, 3 All-NBA teams under his belt. Dennis Rodman, not only is the worm one of the most unique athletes the world of sports will ever see, but one of a kind person unlike any other. Given today's world of social media, there might never be another 25-year-old to enter the NBA, becoming a multiple-time All-Star and a Hall of Famer. His winning qualities, tenacious rebounding, and suffocating defense with relentless energy earned himself a spot in the top 75, becoming one of the most important role players the game will know. His rookie year, numbers of 6.5 points, 4.3 rebounds in 15 minutes of action, shown some promising signs but was already in his mid-20s. Nobody thought he improved by that much, already winning 2 titles with the Bad Boys and 2 Defensive Player of the Year honors in 90 and 91. The Worm became the greatest pound-for-pound rebounder all time, from averaging 12.5 boards the 91 season at age 29 between the ages of 30 to 36. Rodman had the greatest rebounding stretches of seasons since Wilt and Russell, averaged a ridiculous 16.7 boards over 7 seasons, even having more offensive rebounds than field goals attempts that stretch. Absolute bananas. Rodman overcame tremendous emotions throughout his life, from working as a janitor at the airport to having a 10-inch growth spurt in a year span, and finally playing organized ball for the first time at age 21. Sometimes life and success works in mysterious ways nobody can predict. Reggie Miller, super ahead of his time, earned the recognition being a top 75 lifer after not making top 50 when he was 31. The UCLA standout averaged 19.4 points between 22 to 29, 2 All-Star teams, 1 All-NBA, following 6 seasons between 30 to 35. Reggie made 3 more All-Stars, put up between 18 to 22 a game, provided countless of memorable playoff moments. After the epic Knicks battles, both 94 and 95, the game winner shove on Jordan, also leading the Pacers to the finals, still producing at a high level in 2000. 96 of his 144 playoff games happened in his 30s, didn't have superstar numbers, but the literal face of the Pacers franchise for over a decade. His game wasn't fully appreciated during his time in a big men league, finished his career with over 25,000 career points, his off-ball movement and high stamina made Reggie's game age super well, retired at age 39, still looked like an all-star then every other night, could have easily played 2 more years as a significant impactful player. Steve Nash, from boot on draft night, the 14th pick out of Santa Clara, had a late start from riding deep on the bench as a rookie, embarrassingly hated by Mavs fans early. Young Steve learned from being teammates with Kevin Johnson and Jason Kidd early on, finally broke out by age 26, always had a great feel for the game, with the league heading towards a more friendly offensive heavy style of play, having weapons in Michael Finley and Dirk Nowitzki. Nash made 2 all-star teams with Dallas in 02 and 03, good for all-NBA third team, but nowhere near in the discussion as a top 10 player. The Mavs added too many ball stoppers in 2004 with the additions of Antoine Jamison and Antoine Walker. Nash tried to have everyone fit in, limited his scoring. Owner Mark Cuban comfortably let his star point guard walk for nothing in free agency. Being 30 years old, having back problems, had Nash declined and retired 2-3 years after, nobody would have been surprised. But after taking his talents to Phoenix, his skill sets in Mike D'Antoni's system, a match made in heaven, having the athletes in Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion playing fast, the 7-second or less offense began, becoming the deadliest offense in the NBA, leading to the most improbable MVP winner all time. To this day, Steve Nash remains the only player in the 21st century to win an MVP over the age of 30. From not even being an all-star the season before, and not even considered a top 25 player by the end of 04, while the likes of Tim Duncan, Garnett, Kobe, McGrady, and Iverson in their prime years, for a player in Nash magnitude to never average above 18 points a game or 9 assists in any of his first 8 seasons, ended up being the most valuable player. In today's context, just imagine somebody like Pascal Siakam or De'Aaron Fox in 2025 winning MVP. That's what it would feel like winning another Most Valuable Player award the following season without Amari, led Phoenix to 54 wins, nearly three-peated before voter fatigue. The Canadian prodigy continued his excellence, wasn't the best fit under Terry Porter the 09 season. His last superstar caliber year, 2010, 54 wins. His second stint with the Suns, averaged 16 points, 11 assists on a blistering 51, 44, 91 shooting splits. Those 8 seasons alone, Nash would have been great enough to make top 75. The beginning of the pace and space 3-point era opened the doors for Nash to solidify himself as one of the game's greatest point guards. Had Steve played in this era, he easily averaged 25 a game on godly efficiency. Chauncey Billups will finally get in the Hall 10 years after retirement. Mr. Big Shot led the Pistons to 6 straight conference finals, the once proud franchise still no identity since the trade back in 08. Being a former third pick, once upon a time viewed as a bust, traded halfway through his rookie season, became a journeyman before finding a home in the Motor City, won Finals MVP at 27, wasn't officially named an All-Star till age 29, made it 5 times, became one of the deadliest clutch shot makers. After the Iverson trade, Billups turned the Nuggets franchise around, becoming pretty good to contender overnight. One of his most impactful seasons, 2009, finished 6th in MVP voting. Although Melo was the more talented player on the team, Chauncey's leadership, championship experience, and culture-setting factor led the Nuggets to the conference finals, giving Kobe's Lakers a run for their money, lost in 6. Mr. Big Shot became the definition of winning basketball. Had he stayed with the Pistons post-2009, team likely would have competed a couple more years in the postseason, but it's no accident why the franchise collapsed without him and Denver thrived. Andre Iguodala, one free agency decision, absolutely turned his legacy around. From being a do-it-all amazing glute guy and a one-time All-Star to a 4-time champ and former Finals MVP, possessing one of the greatest role player intangibles, the then 29-year-old took his talents to Dub Nation, joining the team that beat his Nuggets in the playoffs, already having speculations whether he purposely bailed on the Nuggets, seeing a glimpse of greatness firsthand from Steph Curry. The 30-year-old, his first full season in Golden State, finished 5th place for Defensive Player of the Year, willing to come off the bench when Steve Kerr took over, being the Drew Holiday of the last decade. There's a reason why Iggy was on FIBA 2010 USA team and the 2012 Olympic squad. Dre himself admittingly believes he's not a Hall of Famer if compared to the other all-time great talents, certainly might have to wait a decade or two after retirement. Kyle Lowry, from backup point guard first 4 seasons of his career and a single-digit scorer to becoming the greatest Raptor in franchise history. Toronto actually had the first pick in the 2006 draft. Ironically, the unestablished 6-foot pesky point guard traded there at age 25, averaging 14 points over 6 assists. No one thought Lowry was going to be a game changer like that. Made his first of 6 All-Star appearances at 28. Had his highest scoring season age 30, finally won a title by 32. His numbers between 30 to 35 compared to all his 20s, a massive difference. Even after he won a title, many still didn't think he was Hall of Fame worthy, but balled out the year after. Also a massive piece to the 2023 Miami Heat squad, from riding the bench behind Mike Conley to start off his career, driving aggressively, getting hurt a lot. Larry continued working out his glute muscles, mastered the art of flopping. Nobody draws and sells contact better than Lowry himself, especially after 2016. Given his 9 memorable seasons in Toronto, that's already a Hall of Fame career itself. Never averaged above 14.5 points any of his 9 seasons outside of playing in Canada. One of those greats who many won't understand how good unless you watch them. Al Horford, the 3rd pick of the 07 draft, will likely play his final season 2025. Made 4 of his 5 All-Star teams in his 20s, being at his apex during the mid-2010s. Horford was just gonna go down as a very good player for his era, overshadowed living in LeBron's Eastern Conference. But Big Al's impact wasn't fully understood since leaving Atlanta. The franchise still lost without him, while Boston became contenders, making back-to-back conference finals and a 2nd round berth before a brief hiatus, tricked Philly into giving him a max contract at 33 before ending up back in Beantown again, making a massive impact on the team that missed him badly. 3 more conference finals, 2 NBA finals, and 1 championship later, captured year 17, polished fluid style of play and winning qualities similar to Marc Gasol, combined with his collegiate success, winning 2 titles at Florida. Al Horford for sure a Naismith Hall of Famer. The only thing he has left to prove, potentially winning back-to-back, both college and the pros, looking to join San Francisco and Boston Celtics legend Bill Russell and Lou Alcindor's UCLA, who won back-to-back with the 87 and 88 Lakers, known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Drew Holiday was viewed as one of the most underrated players for years, especially between 2017 to last season. Now a 2-time champ and 2-time Olympic gold medalist, proven to have all the role player qualities, an all-time lockdown defender, constantly making winning plays, the 6'4" 2-time All-Star, one of the most respected players amongst his peers, from what looked like he was wasting his career away with the awful no-direction Pelicans. After trading away Anthony Davis, many urged the franchise to get Drew out of there at 29 years old. With an all-star appearance and 2 defensive teams to show, Holiday's suffocating defense and timely shot making allowed Milwaukee to get over the hump. Thank God they got rid of Eric Bledsoe. Especially in the Brooklyn series, Giannis and Coach Bud would have lost in 5 without Drew, would go on to lock down CP and Book in the finals, help the franchise win its first title in 50 years, to becoming the 2nd option on a contender after Chris Middleton's repeated absence. The Bucks defense collapsed without him, traded only for Boston to pick him up, finally allowing Brown and Tatum to get over the hump. Holiday's incredible all-around play made Boston an all-time great championship team. From what looked like he was going to be forgotten in NOLA to being put on a contender, anytime Drew Holiday's put on a great team, they'll always have a chance to win more championships. While current Bucks Brook Lopez changed his game to sustain long-term excellence, as well as any big men we've seen, and Goran Dragic, whose 2020 bubble run will never be forgotten before his untimely injury in the finals? Which one of these greats had the most impressive turnaround career, known for being good players in their 20s, adapting and maximizing their style of play to making their Hall of Fame case in their 30s? Drop your thoughts on the comments below. See y'all next video.